Let's talk about why willpower alone so often fails us, and what actually worked for lasting change. According to a landmark University of Scranton study that tracked over 3,000 people, 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February, with nearly half of those failures happening in the first month alone. Why does this happen? For decades, we've operated under what psychologists call the willpower as muscle theory, based on Roy Baumeister's early research, suggesting willpower is a finite resource that depletes with use. But here's where it gets interesting. A comprehensive 2016 meta-analysis, published in the Journal of Psychological Science that examined over 100 studies, found the effect size for ego depletion was actually 3 times smaller than originally believed, and in some cases statistically insignificant. This doesn't mean willpower is useless, but it does mean we've been overestimating its role in behavior change. Neuroscience helps explain why. MIT research using brain imaging technology shows that habits actually form and operate in the basal ganglia, the primitive part of our brain responsible for automatic behaviors, rather than the prefrontal cortex, where conscious decision-making happens. This explains why simply deciding to change isn't enough. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, which synthesizes decades of psychological research, explains that all habits follow a neurological loop. Cue, routine, reward. The key to change isn't willpower. It's identifying and strategically modifying components of this loop. For example, if you habitually snack while watching TV, the cue, you might replace chips with sliced vegetables, the routine, while keeping the reward of relaxation. What's fascinating is how our mindset about failure affects success. A 2018 study, published in the journal Mindfulness by Neff and Germer, found that participants practicing self-compassion after setbacks were twice as likely to persist in behavior change compared to those engaging in self-criticism. This aligns with clinical psychologist Kelly McGonigal's work at Stanford, showing that viewing willpower failures with curiosity rather than judgment creates more sustainable change. And the support systems around us matter tremendously. Research from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, shows that people with just one accountability partner have a 95% higher success rate in quitting smoking compared to those going alone. The environment we create may be most powerful of all. B.J. Fogg's research at Stanford's Behavior Design Lab shows that simple environmental tweaks, like placing workout clothes by your bed or keeping unhealthy foods out of sight, are 3 times more effective at driving behavior change than relying on self-control. This builds on the work of psychologist Wendy Wood at USC, whose experiments found that nearly half of our daily behaviors are repeated in the same context, mostly without conscious thought. James Clear synthesizes this research in his book Atomic Habits, with practical strategies like the 2-minute rule, making new habits so easy to start that they require minimal willpower. For instance, becoming a runner might begin with just putting on your running shoes each morning. The takeaway? Willpower is like emergency brakes, useful in specific moments, but exhausting as a primary strategy. Lasting change comes from understanding how habits form in our brains, designing supportive environments, and approaching setbacks with science-backed strategies rather than self-blame. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit like. It helps others discover these science-backed tools. And subscribe to the Thought Refinery for more research-powered strategies to rewire your habits and mindset. Thanks for watching, and remember, real change isn't about willpower, it's about working smarter with your brain.